One big fish, one big fish, one big fish. All I wanna do is catch that one big fish. Might be a largemouth, smallmouth, maybe even a brown trout. If you ever catch one, you know what I'm talking about. All you wanna do is catch that one big fish. Might be a walleye, sawguy, maybe even a red eye. If you ever catch one, then you'll know why. All you wanna do is catch that one big fish. One big fish, one big fish, one big fish. All I wanna do is catch that one big fish. Might be a catfish, fatfish, or any other kind of fish. If I only had one last wish, all I wanna do is catch that one big fish. Yes, all I wanna do is catch that one big fish. All I wanna do is catch that one big fish.
This time
on One Big Fish,
we're headed to the great state of Michigan to the world famous St. Clair River to fish for none other than
those great big walleye.
And we're gonna be fishing with Captain Dan Shimlai. You know him, he's got more moves than X-Lax, Joe.
Oh man.
He's gonna be using a brand new technique called
whipping.
And you know, whipping, I'm not talking about stuff that Oprah does on the side. I'm talking about fantastic walleye technique. You can get fish after fish after fish in a boat. Joe, I know I've never done it. You've never done it.
I've never done it.
I don't think you've done it either. Sitting there on the couch eating that ice cream, watching the Oprah reruns most of the time. This time on One Big Fish, Captain Dan's going to show you the gear, the tackle, the lures, even the leader length. I'm talking about everything you're going to need to know to put walleye in the boat. So stay tuned. Let's go over here and talk to Captain Dan. I got a funny feeling you're going to love this episode of One Big Fish.
All right, now like we promised, the legendary Captain Dan Shimlai. Now, I've known Dan since I was a teenager, probably. Man, I've known you for a long time, and I've fished with you for a long time, but you've never taken me out here to do this whipping. So why don't you go over some of these techniques that we're going to do out here that is going to put some of these big walleye in the boat for us.
The main reason you haven't ever been out whipping with me is because you're afraid of the dark.
That's true.
Night fishing.
That's true. That's true. Don says the same thing. Yep.
We're trying to get those marbleeyes because they usually are night feeders, and that's the method of fish we're going to be using today. And a very, very specialized crazy bait called a pencil plug.
Now, there's probably not a lot of people out there that know what a pencil plug is.
Very true. It looks just like a pencil. It's about 6 inches long. It's got 3 hooks on it. And doesn't do very much in the water, but it sure turns them walleyes on.
And this is a really simple technique, right? I mean, a lot of people can just take their little boats out here and try this. So
yep, very simple. You just got to make sure you stay out of the freighters' ways. Don't get anywhere near the channel.
That's probably a good idea.
Try to fish the banks a lot. That's what we're doing today. We came in on this spot here, saw 35, 36, 34, 32, 29, 28 feet of water. Came right up to about 20 feet and anchored down. The current here is about 8 miles an hour in the St. Clair River here. The boat swings to the left, it swings to the right, and you can also control the amount of swing on it by where you position your anchor rope on the front of the boat to swing out a little bit deeper or to come back in a little bit shallower.
Man, does this guy know his stuff or what? Now, how about we get into some of these baits and tackles and lead lines? Let's go over some of that stuff, and we'll go with that and show us some of the techniques here that we're going to use.
I certainly will. All
right.
Okay, fishermen, we're going to try to get into the best baits you can possibly use while you're out here whipping in the St. Clair River in the great state of Michigan. These particular ones here I've got are all pencil plugs, and believe it or not, they have your own unique little names. This one here is a chrome rainbow. Naturally, it's got a rainbow color to it, and that's why it's going to be called that. Here's a purple serpal. That's chrome with purple top and a gold belly. Here's a double purple head and tail strawberry. Here's a smelt, which looks just like a smelt, which isn't in these waters this time of the year. Here's a chrome-plated red strawberry, red head and red tail. Here's what they call a chartreuse head tiger stripe, also a very good bait. And from there, we'll move right over to this box we have over here, and these are your floating Rapalas in size 11 and size 13. And once again, these have their own names also. This particular one here is called a blueberry muffin with chartreuse dots. Here's your tiger stripe again. And here's a Wonder Bread, which is also a very, very hot bait. Wonder Bread, in case anybody's wondering, is just like the Wonder Bread wrapper, white with red, yellow, and blue dots on it, and it catches a pile of fish. They really like to gobble that thing, especially on a nice clear night with beautiful clear water. That's it as far as the baits we're going to be using tonight. We'll get into the leads and how you set them up on your reel in just a moment here. them out, right?
So he's hooked on the very first pencil plug, right, Dan?
Yep.
Looks like
Now we're
you got
letting
about, what, 10 feet?
Letting the leader out. It's 10 feet, yes, sir. Now we unsnap that one. And in the back of the next pencil plug, right through the tail, we put our second bait on.
Oh, neat.
Grab our next leader, unsnap it, and put it on. Now we have two baits in tandem. Here comes another 10-foot leader coming out. Now remember,
right line, right?
Yep. Now remember, boys and girls, we are in American waters. In American waters, you can do this. If you're on the Canadian side of the St. Clair River, you're only allowed to use two baits, and they can only have two hooks on each one. We're fishing American waters, so we're using American rules. This one's piggybacked up like that. Try to keep the hooks out of your fingers.
All in line, too. That's neat.
All in line. Every 10 feet, we've got a bait. And here goes the last one, letting her in. And keeping that line wrapped right around your reel. Look how nice and straight.
Wow.
No kinks, nothing to worry about. You don't have to worry about trying to find the leaders
What
or
pound test
untangle
is
them.
that, Dan?
The leaders themselves are 20-pound test fluorocarbon line. The fluorocarbon's a little bit stiffer, and it really doesn't hold a set very well, so you don't have any kind of curlicues in it. It makes it all nice and neat, and it supposedly disappears in the water. And right on the bottom here, we have a 1-ounce sinker. I prefer a little chrome one, and this is approximately a 3-foot lead. That varies from time to time, depending on which time of the season you're out here. Right now, that's what I've been using though.
Could that also be like on a 3-way, Dan?
Yes, it could
Okay.
be. Just like I have it up here.
Okay, gotcha.
And just keep your line twist down. And as you let your line down, you're letting that level wind go, and you're just thumbing it just enough to let it hit the bottom. Let it keep going until it hits. There, you heard it. You felt it hit. You pick up, let it come out a little bit more. Let a little more line, lift up, let her come down again. It hits the bottom. A little more line, lift up, let it come down. What you're actually doing is you're playing those baits back further and further. Every time you lift up and you let out a little more line, the bait goes back a little bit further as the sinker goes back, as this 8-mile-an-hour current keeps pulling all your baits back further and further in back of the boat. So you're not just fishing in one spot. You keep going back further and further. Each time you let a little more line out.
And what will that bite feel like, Dan?
The bite's going to feel pretty much like a little perch hit. They don't really smack it too hard right off the bat usually, but as soon as they do, you set that hook, and that's when the fun begins. And we are also using Fireline on these particular rods. This is 20-pound test Fireline. That's about 6-pound diameter, and that lets that line stay nice and thin, cutting through the water so you don't have a lot of line float, and it also makes it much more sensitive for you to feel a bite. When it's
And a nice short rod, too, right?
Yeah, short rod, because if it was a very limber, longer rod, you'd be working like crazy trying to keep that bait going constantly. This could be a tassel after a while if the fish aren't cooperating because you get tired and worn out. But the short rod like this helps you fish a little bit easier.
We'll be right back.
Visual Technology Maritime Training Programs. Want to be a fishing guide or charter captain? Begin here with us. Classes are forming nationwide to help you prepare to receive your license. Our operator of uninspected passenger vessels, also known as the 6-pack class, will enable you to become a fishing guide or charter captain as you've always dreamed. Classes are forming now, so join us at chartercaptainschool.com or the number shown.
The new Minn Kota Fortrex. Its ruthless mono-arm design features an extruded aluminum backbone with uncompromising strength. A counter-tension stabilizer with no play and no give for silent operation. And lift assist for easy stow and deploy. But it doesn't just sound tough, it walks the walk by outmuscling anything in its path to help you catch more fish. Fortrex, the strong silent type with a built-in mean streak.
Visual Films Outdoor Productions. With dozens of outdoor DVD and VHS titles available, you'll be able to learn all the top tricks and secrets that the pros use to put big fish in the boat. Giant sturgeon, Goliath grouper, bass, crappie, and of course mega-sized catfish. It's all here and a lot more. Visit us at www.visualfilms.com.
You are watching One Big Fish.
See, it'll still keep blowing back. You can still keep playing it back because I'm using a 1 ounce sinker, a very light sinker.
Okay.
Because I like to go way, way back, as Ernie knows. Ernie stays a little bit tighter. Ernie's usually using an 1.5 ounce to 2 ounce sinker. That just, you have a little more control of your line as to how far it goes back. And once you get into the zone where the fish are at, you can pretty much stay there. Me, I go through it and I go to the other side of it to see if there's anything bigger laying in the back of where them other fish are, and then crank her back up. But sometimes you're doing a nice little smooth whip like this and nothing's happening. You want to increase it a little bit, you know? Really get them ticked off and make them angry. I'll make them really strike that bait hard. And the faster you do that whipping motion, the more aggressive those fish are going to get at certain times. Sometimes that's what they want to really get them turned on.
So as long as we had the soundtrack to that song, whip it, we'd be all right, man.
Yep, cha-ching.
Well, let me whip it, man. Let me whip
Oh,
it.
you be talking about your mama.
I'm gonna whip it, man. Heck yeah. Wham!
So Dan, as I'm letting this go, if I feel bottom, as soon as I feel bottom, do I let more line out?
No, as soon as you feel bottom, stop showing up.
Oh, okay.
Then let a little more line out?
As you're coming up.
okay.
That's what I would do. As you're coming up, a little more.
Now, Captain Dan, in terms of spot location, you said that we're here somewhere near the bank. Are we looking for drop-offs? What kind of spot is it that works out best when you're whipping?
Yeah, Don, what you're trying to do is you want to be off to the bank a little bit. You got 30 feet a little bit further away from shore. You got right up to 1.5 feet, 2 feet of water right on the bank itself, and it gradually goes down to that 30-foot range. You want to be anchored in like maybe 20 feet, 22 feet. Give it a shot and see what happens. Generally, as it gets darker and the minnows start to be driven in closer to the shore, those walleyes are going to move in closer, and you want to be in a little bit shallower. That's where it comes in knowing how to anchor your boat off to the left or the right to make the boat swing inward or out from the shore, and that gives you your shallow or your deeper water for anchoring.
So I'll set this down and I'll pull this in.
Yep. Now when you pull these in, usually what you do is you take.
Well, we've got Dan's longtime friend, Ernie Lemansky, and he's been fishing here using this whipping technique for almost 50 years. Not quite, but almost 50 years. Now, Ernie, once I finally reel this line in, and I had a lot of line out there, what's the right way to get all three of these plugs and the sinker and everything up? I got a feeling I just lay the sinker over.
Lay the sinker
But
and the
then
pole
what?
down. Lay them both
Oh,
down.
lay the pole down.
Lay the pole down, get it out of your hand, grab this leader, and go hand over hand.
Hand over hand. So
Like this, and you're just pulling the line in. When you get to the first plug, lay it down out of the way, come in with the second one, same thing, hand over hand, throw your line in the boat. If it goes out into the current, it'll go back into your other plug.
wow.
Drop your second plug down, and then if it happens to be on your third plug, you just bring it in, drop it on the floor.
Flip them in the boat.
And you use a thicker, Dan mentioned that you use a 18, 20 pound leader. You want a thick line, because if you use a thin line, you got an 8-pound fish on here, it's gonna pull back and it's gonna cut your finger right here every time with a thin line. So you want a thick line, something that you can grab and control.
What's your biggest fish using this technique, Ernie?
Probably about a 10.5 pound.
Woo! Man, 10 and a half. And this is primarily a spring technique, right?
Yes. Yes.
Sometimes you're out here jigging, but a night, excellent night technique, as I understand it.
Yes, this is strictly night. You might get lucky and get a fish before dark, but normally it's at dusk, and you can fish right till daybreak and get them.
Right? Wow. All night long.
All night long.
All night long.
Some nights they start at 9 o'clock, and you'll get a flurry. If you got 3 guys in a boat, you might have your limit in 45 minutes on a good night. Other nights it's like fishing. You might sit here and go in with 5 fish. But
a lot of these guys that are jigging right now this time of year, Ernie, have been whining and saying all they're getting is these 2-pounders. But yet you're out here doing this technique at night, getting them 5, 6, 7, and 8s.
right, last week I caught 2 8-pounders and probably 4 or 5 6-pounders last week.
Man. And everybody else getting those eater size, right?
Right. The last big 8-pound male I had, he was full of milk. I brought him in, he was squirting milk everywhere, so they're still spawning.
And here it's almost June.
Right, and if you get a big female, I just throw them back, because they're, that's our future fish
Right,
too. So I have no problem keeping a big male, but if you get a big female full of eggs, I normally turn it back. There's enough fish.
Good for you.
You're gonna end up with your meal one way or another. I mean, and realistically, your smaller fish are a little bit better eaten anyways.
And you know, it's the same with about any species. So, you know, that's how you're gonna keep this fishery great. Let the big ones go. Plenty of these small eaters. I got a funny feeling we're gonna have our choice of big or small ones here tonight, fishing with Ernie and Dan.
One big fish, one big fish, one big fish. All I wanna do is catch that one big fish. Might be a largemouth, smallmouth, maybe even a brown trout. If you ever catch one, you know what I'm talking about. All you wanna do is catch that one big fish.
And keep reeling. When you set your pole down, grab the line.
Do what now?
Keep reeling, keep reeling, keep reeling.
Okay.
Grab your line, set the pole down, grab the line, grab the main line. Now just bring the fish in.
Good
One
one.
motion.
All right. Good job. All right. Go. Number 2. Beautiful. Nice fish. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. He's got a T-bone. Look at that. Look how he bit that. Man, these things are aggressive. How about that? Tell you what, Don, is this fun
My
or what?
foot's about a foot long.
You got it
so
back out, what, 150 feet or something?
170 foot. Yep, back.
my foot is 12 inches long, so it's probably 24 inches.
Man. I tell you what, Bubba. That's awesome.
I like it, baby.
That's awesome. You know, you get out here in the dark, and walleyes come roaming. Man, this is fun. What a great way to spend an evening, huh? Get over here, buddy. Yeah, get over here.
Well, we could be out night fishing or inside watching Oprah reruns.
That's
but,
right.
You know.
There we go. Now he's a nice fish there. Nice fish.
Is he bigger than others?
Look at that. Look at that humpback on that baby. Yeah. That's beauty. Real nice one. Yep. Beautiful St. Clair River walleye. Now, would you say this is just a little bit above average this year? This fish here, about average,
No,
or
it's about average.
about average this year?
Yeah.
Real nice fish. Look at that. You guys want to spend a nice evening out here on the river near you with current? You got current somewhere? You want to come up to Michigan? Try this out. This is what you're in store for. Nice short pole, and man, do these things fight. Pulling them walleye against that current. You guys got to try this. Get off that couch. Get out on the river. Enjoy the beautiful night in the summertime, and you're gonna find some fun out here. Let's get back out there, man. They're starting to bite again.
Yeah, that's right here. I got it.
Pass this.
I got
over here to
it. The rest is
Dan.
all yours.
I'm gonna go hand over hand here with this. Here's the first lure. I'm gonna set that right up there.
There you go.
Line right back in the
Yep, drop the leader in the
boat.
water.
And right in the boat.
Yeah,
Wham! All right.
boy.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's hit the, what is that, a Wonder Bread or no?
Yeah, that's that pearl one. That's that.
Oh, the
purple
pearl.
one. That's that purple one I told you.
Okay, all
Purple
right.
strawberry.
Wow.
That's a good fish. Good
You just
bait.
put that on, didn't you?
Yep.
Yeah, we just did a little switch up, change up.
That's the one we took off originally. Yep. That's a gooder.
I'll be darned.
Good eating
And you
there,
know,
boy.
the way these things hit, I mean, this thing, you know, I was easing it back, and bada boom, bada bing. You know, I mean, just hit it, shaking that head down in there, shaking his head. I mean, just like that. You know. Now, would you say this is a little bit less than 10 pounds, Ernie, or a little bit over?
I'd say that's a little bit less.
There you go, being negative. You always being
Just-
negative, you know.
Just to,
But,
that glass is about half full.
About half full kind of guy, but you know, nice eating size fish. This is the kind of fish you want to eat. Let them big monsters go. We haven't had that problem of having to let those big monsters go yet, but could happen any time. Pretty fish. We'll get this thing in a live well and make a decision on this one later. What do you think, Ernie?
Yep.
All right, let's open that bad boy up. I know he's got some bigger company in there with some of Joe's creatures, but we'll get them right. Oh, there you go. All right.
You are watching One Big Fish.
All right. Lots of action here in the St. Clair River. Man.
About 5 minutes apart.
Hey. After we got that last one tangled, finally got it back in the water. Here he comes. Don't know which plug he's on yet. Oh, right on the first one again, Ernie. Right on the first one. Okay, I'm gonna drop the pole back to Ernie. Barely hooked here, so here he comes. There he is. There's a nice eater there. Look at that. Just barely hooked him. Let's get him. Let's get him off there and show you guys. There's your nice eating size walleye right there.
Much better eating than that.
Oh, there we go. Come on, you. You got a pair of pliers there? Yes, never mind, I got him. All right, there he is. Now I was telling Don, they were telling us the techniques of doing this whipping. What I was doing is I was bringing it back, letting it hit bottom, and then letting it sit there for about 5 seconds. Just letting it sit. After I felt that sinker hit, let it sit there for about 5 seconds. Last 2 fish came that way, just whacked it right there as it was sitting still. So, you know, they were saying there's all kinds of different techniques you try, and the best technique is the one that's getting the fish. Remember that. So there we go. We got another one. Those fish are hot right now, so we're going to get them back out in the water, see if we can't get another one. All right.
Good job.
Right.
Now let's go to Frank's Great Outdoors to see what gear is recommended in pursuit of me.
Here at Frank's, we offer some updates to the technique of whipping that you saw in today's show. One of those updates is the Daiwa SG27 LCA line counter reel. One thing the line counter can do is let you know how much line you have out so you can repeat where the lure was. And hopefully that'll help you catch that one big fish.
Find your way, honey? Sure.
Well, you never know out here in this current. You know what I mean, Dan?
You betcha, Bubba. You got yourself a alligator.
Now that much I do know.
Yes, sir.
Don't know how big it is, but it's gonna be green with some teeth.
Cha-ching.
Big glowing eyes.
Oh, look at him, look at him. He's a pulling. Of course, I let it back to Yugoslavia. You know what I mean? It's 4 zip codes back.
Where exactly is that?
I mean, that's a long way from here. It's a long way from here. But then again, you know what they say? Let it back a mile. It's a hog fest.
Now you were just letting it sit still too, weren't you?
Yeah, I use the Joe technique. Sit there, do nothing, and luck out. Well, look at that head shake. It's unbelievable.
That's
There
a
he
nice
is,
fish.
there he is.
It's a
Nice
monster.
fish.
I'm gonna hand this to Dan.
Fish, nice fish.
I'm gonna hand this to Dan.
Nice fish.
Don't want to lose this one. Holy cow! Great googly moogly! Unbelievable! Look at that monster. Get it. Woo!
Nice. Nice fish.
Wow! Unbelievable! And it was that very first yeah. I don't know who got who, you know.
Well, now you know why he was fighting anyways.
But this guy was on the very first lure here, and I guess that gives you the most fight, right?
Yep.
And at least he was not going to be getting away. But yeah, that's a nice one there. Look at the size of that. I mean, walleye this size scare small children. You know, if they're in the room, you know, they ought to leave now. I mean, I don't want anything bad to happen, but I mean, just look how pretty that is. You know, keep it up. I'm trying to show you off, man. You know, part of the beauty thing when they leave that up, you got to smack it around a little bit. I don't want to abuse it until I release it. You know, walleye this size, always a catch and release thing, and we are definitely gonna release this into Lake Crisco. You know, definitely the eating size here. So a beautiful fish, nice fight, and you know this whipping thing, Joe. I mean, obviously, one more tool to add into that walleye toolbox.
Absolutely.
You know, and an awesome tool.
Proven to be effective.
So, Captain Dan been using this for years. Ernie been using it almost 50 years. I can see why. I mean, you know, I'm nowhere near my limit because, you know, my first time. Joe is about limited out. He's over here just, you know, getting ready to get his last one. But yeah, I'm gonna get him back in. It's getting a little bit late for me, and I need my beauty sleep. So I'm gonna put this in the box. I tell you what, Joe, have you had the time of your life?
I've had the time of my life, man. That's been awesome.
Unbelievable. All I can say
It's
is,
been awesome.
I can't appreciate Captain Dan and Ernie enough for bringing us out here, showing us this brand new technique.
Man.
And I know you're loving it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I've heard about Dan talking about it for years.
And Joe being a big time jigger, ex-super, if anybody's gonna catch a fish jigging, it's definitely Joe. And now he's got one more thing here on the same river that he's used to fishing to go right after the same walleye.
Absolutely, man. I'm telling you, this is awesome. I'm gonna try this again. I don't know about you.
Oh yeah, definitely. So for one big fish, I'm Captain Don Sweet.
And I'm Captain Joe Raymer.
And we'll see you next time out on the water looking for that
one big fish.
One big fish, one big fish, one big fish. All I wanna do is catch that one big fish. Might be a largemouth, smallmouth, maybe even a brown trout. If you ever catch one, you know what I'm talking about. All you wanna do is catch that one big fish. Might be a walleye, sawguy, maybe even a red eye. If you ever catch one, then you'll know why. All you wanna do is catch that one big fish. One big fish. One big fish. One big fish. All I wanna do is catch that one big fish. Might be a catfish, fatfish, or any other kind of fish. If I only had one last wish, all I wanna do is catch that one big fish. Yes, all I wanna do is catch that one big fish. All I wanna do is catch